In today's headlines, officials prepare to prosecute a woman accused of cutting a repairman's rope from the 21st floor. A 26-year-old Thai woman dies after her first shot of Sinovac, and Bangkok Airways will resume its flights between Phuket and Hat Yai. Coming up in today's program. Welcome to the Thaiger channel, and you're watching Thailand News Today, bringing you the latest headlines in Thailand and beyond. And so in our first story, an update to the story of a worker in Nonthaburi whose rope was cut, leaving him dangling 26 floors above the street below. Police now say they now have enough evidence to prosecute the woman accused of cutting the rope from the 21st floor, 5 stories below. Thai media reported that the suspect is a 34-year-old woman who owns a room in the condo building where the workers have been repairing what is now said to be a leak on the outside of the 32nd floor story building. She had been taken to the police station for interrogation at the time, but refused to admit any wrongdoing. With no video footage capturing the rope being cut, many were fearful that the person who committed the crime and their motive might remain unknown. Police had collected the severed rope from the ground below the condo and had taken it for forensic analysis. DNA was taken from the woman suspected of cutting the rope, though police have not released any details on whether DNA tests have been completed or conclusive. The woman is facing charges of criminal damage as well as attempted murder. Thai media reports that the woman has been moved by her relatives out of the condo building for now. The largest hospital in the northeastern Nakhon Ratchasima province has flooded. After heavy rains in the region, the hospital reported yesterday that they have made plans to relocate their patients to other facilities if the water levels continue to rise. The Maharat Nakhon Ratchasima Hospital flooded yesterday morning when the Lamtakong Canal overflowed. The water on the hospital grounds has reached up to 60 centimeters, which means that small vehicles are unable to drive in or out. People who need the hospital at this point will have to wade through waist-deep water. Public Health Secretary General Kietipu Wongcharit explained that the hospital is taking efforts to maintain operations. Sandbags have been placed around the compound, water is being pumped out, temporary raised walkways are being built, and important equipment and medicine is being moved to higher ground. The banks of the Lamtakong Canal overflowed on Tuesday afternoon, which caused water to pour into Nakhon Ratchasima city and other surrounding communities. Much of this water is coming from the Lamtakong Dam, which has been discharging water in order to prevent damage and overflow. The dam has since been ordered to stop its discharging. So far, flooding has killed 12 people in the region, and 15 emergency shelters have been established for those who have been displaced. Meanwhile, the Chao Phraya River that runs through Bangkok is overflowing as well, and Bangkok City Hall has warned families that are living along the river to take precautions. Officials report that the famous Wat Arun, or Temple of Dawn, is currently flooded. A 26-year-old woman has died after getting her first shot of China's Sinovac vaccine. The woman received the vaccine on September the 24th and suffered from a fever, tight chest, and exhaustion after the shot. Her mother says her symptoms grew worse. On October the 12th, the woman went to the hospital but was released and asked to return the next day. 2 days later, she was hospitalized as her condition worsened, and she passed away on Monday. Doctors say she died of internal infections and low blood pressure. Her mother is blaming the Sinovac vaccine for her daughter's death and says she was very healthy before getting the shot. She also said her daughter had no underlying health issues. Just last week, a 20-year-old student died 10 days after receiving his first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine. Doctors say he died of heart failure in the hospital. The student's uncle said that he developed diarrhea, began shivering, and even vomited just 3 days after receiving the vaccine. The young student then went into shock and died that morning. Thailand's health department recently stated that it would stop using the Sinovac vaccine after its current stock has been used. The news comes after Chinese doctors and other countries reported that the vaccine was ineffective against the prevailing Delta variant. Officials turn to combining the Sinovac vaccine with Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines to combat the Delta variant. Thailand has used over 31.5 million Sinovac vaccines since February, with the health ministry giving frontline workers and high-risk groups the shot before the Delta variant hit Thailand in March of this year. Bangkok Airways is resuming its direct service flights between Phuket and Hat Yai starting October the 31st. The service will be operated by the retro ATR 72-600 turboprop aircraft, starting with one flight daily. The outbound flight departs Phuket Airport at 9:45 a.m. and arrives at Hat Yai Airport at 10:50 a.m. The inbound flight departs Hat Yai at 11:20 a.m. and arrives at Phuket Airport at 12:25 p.m. With the resumed services between the two provinces, the airline is now flying a total of 9 destinations. Those destinations are listed as follows: cue elevator music, or heavy metal, whatever the editor puts on. Five senior officers from Bangkok's Lumpini police station have been reassigned after being accused of turning a blind eye to venues selling alcohol. But before that, let's hear from our sponsors.
Hi, Tim here, and thank you very much, Jett. Back to Thailand News Today in just a moment. Now, during the next few weeks, we're going to be showing you a little bit about 5-Star Marine and where they're heading out to at the moment. Even though we've still got a little bit of the wet season left, they've got the Captain's Choice, which is an opportunity for you to guarantee that you'll be able to go to a great island on any day, no matter what the weather is like. But the good news is that the wet season is basically on the wane and we've got some good weather ahead. So we're going to be taking you to some really amazing islands within just an hour of Phuket, some of them only 20 minutes away. Some beaches that you've probably never been to and they've never looked better. So we look forward to taking you on some trips with 5-Star Marine over the next few weeks.
Raids have been taking place on a near daily basis as police crack down on violations on COVID restrictions by allowing the sale and consumption of alcohol on site. Bars and nightlife across the country have been ordered to shut since April as the CCSA insists that they have the potential to be super spreader venues. Restaurants are open but prohibited from selling alcohol, with limited exceptions for tourism destinations such as Phuket, Khao Lak, and Koh Samui. Having lived with the order for 7 months now, business owners are becoming impatient, with many flouting the rules and, in some cases, being ignored by police. This decision to look the other way is believed to be behind the latest reassignment of the 5 Bangkok officers. The Metropolitan Police Bureau Commissioner says such arrests will continue for as long as businesses violate the ban on the sale and consumption of alcohol. The Thai Prime Minister says he can cope with everything he has to deal with and is not bothered by rumors of political disagreements. And then just right after, he asked journalists to stop asking him about the election and instead focus their questions on the economy. Prayut Chan-o-cha was addressing the media after yesterday's meeting of the Defense Council. Controversy continues to surround how long the Prime Minister has left in office, with opposition politicians and others insisting his term is up on August the 24th next year. This is based on a constitutional ruling that nobody can serve as PM for more than 2 4-year terms, even if they're not back-to-back. Those who believe the PM's time is up next August insist his term began when he seized power as head of the National Council for Peace and Order in May of 2014. However, the Prime Minister's Secretariat office has previously claimed that his term only began after the declaration of the current charter in 2017. With rumors of an election next year, several parties have already nominated their leaders or other members for the job of Prime Minister. The ruling Palang Pracharat Party has agreed to stick to what they know and nominate the incumbent. However, the question of when his term ends continues to be hotly debated and is expected to influence when the election might take place. It's understood that the opposition parties will petition for a constitutional court ruling on the matter. Meanwhile, when asked if he feels he has enough support to keep the top job, the Prime Minister would not comment, telling reporters to ask the public instead. And so I ask you, dear members of the public, if you were able to vote in Thailand, would you cast your ballot to our current dear leader? Looking forward to hearing your comments. And that wraps up our report for today, but check out the videos that just popped up here to continue watching other shows on the channel. Thailand News Today will be back tomorrow, and meanwhile, you're now up to date on the Thaiger.